It's 2020, I'm 13 years old, I'm scrolling on TikTok and I see my friend sends me something. It's a video of a girl in a bikini. And at first these videos are funny to us. We would send them back and forth to each other, and it was one big joke. But then one night I was laying in my bed and I started to get, aroused to these videos. I felt something to these videos. And that night, I think I was in 6th or 7th grade, I gooned for the first time. It felt good, it felt exciting, nothing felt wrong about it, so I did it again, day after day, maybe even multiple times a day. And in that moment, it didn't feel bad. It felt good. It felt normal. It felt just like, okay, why wouldn't I do this? I feel good after doing it. Then after after doing it for like a month, then it started to feel bad. I started to feel shameful about it. In seventh grade, I remember being in the back of my parents' car, and I would secretly go to like TikTok profile photos, because back in like 2021, people would have like porn as their profile photos, weird stuff like that. So I would secretly in the back of the car go look at these photos, just to get a quick hit of dopamine. I remember going to see Christmas lights one year with my family, and in the back of the car I was secretly looking at these things, and it started to become an addiction. I remember my freshman year in high school, I started to do it daily. I started to watch porn daily. I started to fap daily, and I felt so much shame. I felt so much guilt each time I did it, but I couldn't stop. No matter how much I tried, I just could not stop. I remember being on vacation, and I was secretly watching it. I was secretly gooning in the shower, and I felt so horrible about myself. But I couldn't stop. I was busy playing Fortnite all day. I was busy, just like kind of living a degenerate life. And I thought it was normal because people said it was normal. People said this stuff was normal. Then my freshman year of high school, I was almost scared to talk to people. I was scared to talk to people. I had a lot of self-hate, and I really started to hate myself. I didn't like myself, and I always had this weird thought that, anyone I talked to, I came in with this thought that no matter what I said, they just didn't like me, and I thought nobody liked me. And my freshman year of high school, that's when I started to get into self-improvement. I watched people like Andrew Tate, people like Hamza, and I got really into it. I started going to the gym. I started eating super clean. I even buzzed my hair just to show that I was finally going to change in my life. But I still struggled with porn. And then it hit February. And February for us Catholics, I'm a Catholic, it's Lent. And for Lent, you usually give something up. So I said, I'm done watching these videos. I'm done watching porn. And I'm done fapping. And in that moment, I felt God. I felt inside of me this like feeling that I've never felt before, that genuinely I was never going to do it again. And I just knew it, and I just knew I was never going to give into lust again. And then for 8 months after that, I never did. Instantly, from doing it like daily, I just stopped. Boom, just like that. And in those 8 months, I was filled with these emotions. I was filled with like pure happiness, with this sense of drive to do hard things. The greatest thing I felt though was purity. My brain began to desexualize. I started to see the world in a more loving way. And after those, and about, then that summer, so February I quit. That summer I started talking to this girl. And, we had some good times together. Things were good, right? But there was a point where I was talking to this girl that, she wanted to give into lust, okay? And she wanted to do these things, and I couldn't do it. I just didn't feel like lust anymore. I didn't have that sense of lust. And eventually, things turned sour, things went south. And I think the reason why I couldn't give into lust, because I genuinely felt like a love for this girl, I genuinely loved her. And when I feel like when you truly love someone, it's super hard to lust over them. So, eventually, things didn't work because I didn't give into lust. Things just didn't work out. And after that moment, after maybe a week after we stopped talking, I was hit with this huge urge. And after 8 months of no lust, of no court, of no fapping, I gave in. And I started watching porn again. And, after that, I felt super bad. I felt super guilty. And, I think my life started to go downhill. My sophomore year of high school, I was eating pretty bad food. I was watching porn. I was playing video games. I was working a job I hated at Chipotle. I hated it every single day, going in there, clocking in. And I just kind of felt horrible about myself again. But I thought I was being productive because I had a good physique and, I was going to the gym. And I remember one time I was scrolling through Instagram. I went to my bathroom. I was going to get a little goon out. And I remember I was scrolling through Instagram, one of these like gooner pages on Instagram that are filled with like girls that you can like, guys goon to, stuff like that. And I remember scrolling through that page for a bit, edging, stuff like that. And I saw a girl who I had hung with the night before, a girl who I was friends with on that page. And in that moment, I was hit with so much guilt, so much shame, because I realized these are real human beings I'm lusting over. This isn't just an object, it's a real human being who I'm doing these disgusting actions to. And they just felt so horrible. It felt so much guilt. It felt so much shame, because I realized these are real human beings. And in that moment, I realized something needed to change. I realized something needed to change. I got back into lust. I got back into, corn, maybe for like 2 years after being like a year free. And I felt guilt. I felt shame. I got right back down that cycle. And it really ruined my life for a while. But then I realized I needed to change my life. In August of 2024, I started my first business. It was like a thrifting business, right? I would resell clothes. And I also posted my first TikTok then. It was about, it was about lust. It was about not giving to lust. It was about growing with God. It was about being a man, a high-value man. And I decided I was going to dedicate my life towards helping young men. And I felt so much love for it. I felt so much excitement for doing it. I felt so much purpose doing it. And when I first started posting those videos, everyone made fun of me from my school. Everyone hated on me, but I felt so much purpose behind it. I felt such a fire inside me posting these videos, so I continued to do it, because I realized that these videos, my younger self would die to see these videos. My younger self would do anything to hear my own message. So I started posting these videos. And, I still struggle with lust, right? I think like February of 2025, February 2025, I got with like a girl for the first time. March 2025, I went to Fort Lauderdale. I was clubbing, I was drinking, I was giving into degeneracy. But then I realized that none of this was fulfilling me. All this was doing was making me feel empty, was making me feel guilty, was making me feel bad about myself. So June of 2025, I decided to start posting on TikTok every single day. I took it so seriously, and I posted on self-improvement, growing with God, not giving into lust, being the best version of yourself. And I felt so fulfilled about it. I felt so fulfilled. And I also decided I was going to give my life to God. I was going to give my life to purpose. So I stopped reselling as well, because I realized that reselling was like almost like a sinful business model. So I decided I was done giving into it, and I just gave my all to helping young men, to helping myself grow and helping other people grow. And I started to grow, super quickly, because a lot of young men, they related with the message. It was a big problem that a lot of other people struggle with. So you're not alone. And for the first time in my life, I felt so much purpose. I felt so much purpose, to the point where whenever I did get an urge to lust or an opportunity to lust, I never gave in, because I realized I had to be a leader for young men. And eventually I got to 150K followers on TikTok, and I decided I needed to make a tool to help men quit corn. So I spent 4 months building an app. It's called Rewired. It helps men defeat lust. And for the first time in my life, I can say I feel purposeful. For the first time in my life, I can say I'm lust-free. I can say I'm happy. I can say I genuinely love my life, and I love what I do, and I wake up each day excited for what the day has for it. And I love making these videos, man. And it's all because I found God, and I found my purpose. So if you're watching this video, aim for greatness, follow that thing that gives you a fire inside, and grow with God each day. And I promise you will never give in to lust again. Thank you for watching.